This week on the the Book of Boba Fett.
I'm right. Mando only has a few moments in this episode, and it's time for me to reclaim my show. Can't wait to... You mother... Hello, everybody. My name is Boba Fett at the moment. Here, let me go ahead and just... let me put my glasses on. There we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Geeky Puppet Show. We are here. Frank, there's no Frank here. No, we're not talking about... Don't ask questions you don't want answers to.
I guess that's a Batwoman or a Naomi thing.
No.
Okay, never mind.
If you watch the Batwoman review, you'll see Frank.
Okay.
We are here today to talk about... Let me go ahead and grab the little guy, you know.
This is his moment.
Come here.
He's back.
He's back. He's back through and through, because this episode of the Book of Boba Fett... Yeah, you get your own show. You should. You might as well. People would want to watch it more, apparently. Yeah. This episode of Book of Boba Fett is not an episode of The Mandalorian. No, you don't have to worry about that.
It's just Star Wars.
It's just Star Wars.
Anything. It shouldn't be called the title. So the title is called like Through the Desert Comes a Stranger. It should be called Through the Desert Comes a Mob of Strangers, or a mob of familiar faces.
through the desert comes a stranger, a Star Wars story.
Yeah.
Might as well. Just a tie-in movie. Tie up all the shows and movies and stuff. But this episode actually starts out with what's his name? Oh,
Cobb Vanth.
Cobb Vanth, Marshall Vanth.
Timothy Oliphant, one of my favorite characters from season 2 of The Mandalorian. I really dug his role.
Yeah, no, he's awesome. He is out there, and the Pikes are doing a shady deal, of course. And he says, "You have a minute to get out of here, or I'll handle you." Well, they try to pull out the guns. He shoots 3 of them and leaves one alive. Has him leave a chest of what they were going to trade, right there.
The spice.
It's spice.
He opens it. Star Wars cocaine.
Yeah. Isn't it a Dune cocaine too? Might as well.
It is a Dune cocaine. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
Any space themed property, if you see spice, you might want to run. You want to go home and rethink your life. Yes.
I'm waiting for somebody to bring up Death Sticks, because that's the prequel reference that I'm waiting for. Not Naboo Starfighters.
I think did it come up in the Mandalorian show?
Did it? I don't remember. I have to go back and rewatch it.
But this episode, speaking of the Mandalorian, we then do cut to the Mandalorian. He pretty much lands on whatever planet Luke is at, and he is led by R2-D2 to where they're building a little hut, for a little school.
This little radar thing.
Yeah, with these weird spider builder droids.
Yeah, those things creep me out. I'm sorry. You guys can keep those ant droids. I don't want them.
R2-D2 basically shuts down, and then the droids just build him a bench because they don't know how long he's going to be there. It's great.
That was funny.
And so he just sits there. And that's when we see the boy himself, the big green baby. Or big is it really?
Big green frog-loving baby.
Yeah. Because he is meditating with... there you go. He's meditating with Luke. And he gets distracted by a frog, this one-eyed frog that's hopping around him. And
he gets hungry.
He wants a snack, and he tries to float it over to him, but that's when Luke says Grogu, and he drops it, and it hops away. That's when Luke decides he's going to show off his skill, and so he sticks out his hand, and a bunch of frogs are just floating around. And this is, oh my gosh, comic book. Froggy, he just arrested you. Please stop.
What the heck? That's why this is why Froggy doesn't show up over here, because he knows Grogu likes to eat frogs.
That's right.
Yeah, it's actually kind of cool. The whole sequence with Luke and Grogu was cool because it was a reversal of Luke's time on Dagobah. So like
Yeah.
when Luke pulls all the frogs out of the water, it's like when Yoda pulls the X-wing out, and then he like puts Grogu on his back and goes like jumping around. And it's just really, really cool. Really nice little mirror.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And as they're going forward is really great. And he's trying to train Grogu. We actually see Grogu get to stand around a little bit, try to jump.
He was force jumping too. That's why that was so weird, because like when first Luke is walking and then he's like force leaping to keep in step with him, and then he's training and he's like, okay, now bend down and jump, and he couldn't do it. I was like, you were just doing this 5 minutes ago, Grogu. What happened? But anyway.
Well, it's a little different.
It might be different. Maybe he wasn't thinking about it at first. Maybe so.
It gets to a point where they're at their training. They take a moment and cut back to Mando. And who else is there? Ahsoka Tano, played by Rosario Dawson. So totally unexpected. I did not expect it.
Yeah. Did not see that coming.
Yeah, and she is there and saying, listen, basically, Grogu is training to be a Jedi now, which means he has to forego attachments like this to be a Jedi. And she says, this is only going to make it harder if you see him again.
Mm-hmm.
So Mando looks down at his little gift that he has for him and says, make sure he gets this. It'll protect him. And so she ends up taking it to Luke as they're watching Grogu, who just finished leaping around and all. He's just laying on a rock.
That's the best scene. The best scene was him with the remote, the training remote, as he gets zapped by it. I laughed. I enjoyed that.
When he got shot.
I enjoyed that a little more than I should.
But then he like sticks out his hand and just crushes it with the Force. So he gets his revenge.
He's okay. Yeah.
But that's when we see Ahsoka and Luke Skywalker on the screen at the same time. I'm geeking out a little bit right here.
It was very cool. And then she brings up like didn't she bring up like his dad or his father or something? Yeah, that was really cool.
A lot like your father.
Yeah, that was really cool. I enjoyed that. But then it
looks that's a good track record for Grogu.
But then they but you missed the thing that I really liked was Luke Skywalker like reaches in to like restore his memories, and you see how he where he was.
Order 66.
Order 66, yeah.
Yeah, you should fuss.
So that was kind of cool. Seeing that too, where he was with Order 60. Although we don't really get to see how he was saved. We just see that he saw a bunch of Jedi die. But
yeah, so it's still a mystery as to how he escaped the temple.
Yeah,
as it were.
Yeah, right.
But we go ahead and we do get to see Mando once more after that, because Mando lands on Tatooine. Goes to where Boba Fett, he does appear in this episode, yes.
In his own episode, he makes an appearance?
I know, right? But it's mostly Fennec Shand saying how they need foot soldiers to fight the Pikes. And that's when Mando says, I know some people. So we get to see him go back to the town. Now it's called Freetown. It's no longer Mos Kappa or whatever.
Mos Pelgo?
Mos Pelgo.
Yeah.
How are you so good with names?
I just really like this character. And when I like a character, I pay attention to him.
Yeah, fair enough. I like a character and I forget like 50% of his backstory.
Well, your brain's made of fluff too. So you
okay, that's fair. We get to see him go to the sheriff. The deputy there tried to be like, "You can't park that ship there." Mm-hmm. But that's when we see Cobb Vanth step out and say, "He's new. Come on in." And Mando says, "Let me buy you a drink." So that's when he goes to explain how he knows these people can fight and would really like them to help as a favor to him.
Mm-hmm.
And
Cobb's like, well, we're square. You're even, because the whole thing with the Great Dragon.
uh-huh.
So, but then Boba's like, well, eventually the Pikes may not bother you now, but they'll come get you eventually.
Mando.
The whole, or yeah, Mando says, yeah, they're gonna come for you eventually. And he's like, well, I'll leave it up to. Basically, Cobb Vanth's attitude is, we'll leave it up to the town. He's like, after Mando leaves, he's like, we'll have a town meeting and get everybody's opinion.
But then there's
then
a figure walking in the desert. You can see the heat radiating off of the sand.
Wow, wow,
Why
you could hear the Western music in your head.
Me too. It's so great. And that's when Cobb Vanth says, "Tell everybody to get inside. Everybody get inside." And he's telling his deputy to do that because he's trying to stick out there. "No, I'm going to be with you, Sheriff. You stay inside." That's when the figure stops right there. He's leaning down and says, "Cobb Vanth, whatever Boba Fett is paying you, we can pay you double." And basically, if he doesn't, well, it's not going to go well. And we see it's Cad Bane.
So I had a thought that Cad Bane would show up because he and Boba were kind of rivals in the Clone Wars show, but didn't really know. And so yeah, he shows up in this, and he looks really, really good too.
Just needs a little bit wider brim on that hat, and he'd be perfect.
The brim on the hat was a little short, but yeah, other than that, I mean, that's just nitpicky. I like the voice acting and everything. Was somebody I know told me it was like watching Clint Eastwood in a Star Wars. I was like, well, that's what he was designed after. So I mean, it was really perfect. Then he gets to like they do like the whole he pushes his coat back, and it's like this whole Western deal. They're gonna do like a gunfight, a draw. And it's just
what really gets Cobb Vanth in the end is the marshal coming out saying how you get out of town, sir.
Yeah, that stupid deputy.
Cobb Vanth and the deputy both look at each other for a moment to make sure they're okay, and that's when you see the quickest gun in the galaxy get him. And to be fair, Timothy Oliphant was only shot in the shoulder. What he really did was shoot that deputy 3 times.
Yeah, the deputy's dead.
Dead. And from the sounds of it, because he says pretty much from there that this is the Pikes now. And,
right.
It's clear
that they should stay out of it, and that they'll all be left alive. They'll be left alone.
Yep. And then he walks away.
And then just walks off.
That beautiful bastard.
I know that. And did he have and I think he even has, because I know there's a Clone Wars episode where he goes off in clone armor. It looked like he had like the blue gauntlets from the clone armor on his arm too. I thought
he might have.
Yeah,
I was just so stunned.
The detail was beautiful. So yeah, really enjoyed seeing that, and I think Cobb Vanth is at least still alive. I would hope so. He is one of my favorite characters in this whole little Filoni verse that's going
on. And that's when we push towards the real end here.
Mm-hmm.
Luke is unsure what to do, but he sits Grogu down and says, "This is a gift," and it shows the little chainmail. It's so cute. Little I know you like it, Grogu.
Barbie doll chainmail.
And he says, "This is from your friend, the Mandalorian, but I'm going to offer you a choice." And then he pulls out Yoda's lightsaber. It's so small. Oh,
all right. So that was cool. That was cool to me. That was cool.
belong to his master Yoda, and says that
Probably a distant relative.
he says you can either take the chainmail and return to your friend the Mandalorian, or you can take the lightsaber, and I will train you as my first student to be a great Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
And we closing up on this baby's face, and he just looks up as you can hear this soft pondering going on as the episode ends. That beautiful bastard Dave Filoni does it again. Oh,
I thought you were about to throw the puppet with all your excitement, or throw the baby Yoda with all the excitement.
I'm not gonna throw the baby.
Yeah, this was something else. I mean, good grief.
That's what he thinks of you.
I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. So I think before we get into our final thoughts on the episode, let's ask Baby Yoda. What does Baby Yoda think? Yeah, it's very frustrating for you. You have a difficult choice to make. I'm not going to yeet the baby. I'm going to put him down gently. Yeah, and he said he's. What do I take it? No. Take that and take the armor too. I don't think he'd do that. Okay,
I don't think so.
Well, it would be funny to think, no, I'll just take it too. Beautiful bastard. That's what he is. Listen. It's just like that. There are some people in this world that hurt us so good. He is one of them. He hits it in all the right spots. Mm-hmm.
So you think next week's episode we'll get a Cad Bane Boba Fett duel?
Yeah. Well, they have the young actor that they have in there that's looking out of the window of Camino, and we got to see him. I don't think that's the same actor as before. I think it's a new one.
No, no. I mean, like modern day, like Tamura Morrison Boba Fett. Do you think we'll see him and Cad Bane like have a rematch?
But we need to see the original match for it to be a rematch. So I'm wondering if we're going to get both a rematch and the original match shown to us.
On that great screen. Because they did originally have a Clone Wars arc. It was going to be the Cad Bane Boba Fett. It was going to explain how Boba gets the dent in his helmet, that big circular dent. That would be cool if instead of getting in the Clone Wars, we actually got a live action version. That would be cool.
In Boba Fett.
Yeah, that would be neat. But I think next week it's going to have to be a really big finale because they're going to have to put a lot of stuff in there.
I mean, Cad Bane has shown up now, and we know he works for the Pikes.
Mm-hmm.
We know Boba Fett, he wants to still ride the Rancor, but we haven't seen any evidence of them trying.
I bet you the Rancor makes an appearance next week, too. There's rumors going around, I heard from someone today, that Harrison Ford's name is attached to the Episode 7 credits.
Oof.
I don't know how or why. It's a rumor.
Well, they digitally de-aged
that's true.
Mark Hamill.
That is true. So
yeah, because it was actually him. So
Jar Jar Binks could show up next week. I mean,
shut your damn mouth.
We have a Naboo starfighter.
You gonna take that back? You're gonna take that back right now.
Jar Jar Binks shows up, but then like 2 seconds in, he gets stepped on by the Rancor. How about that?
Fitting in for that bastard. Anyway, that is the end, and it was actually a great episode. But the problem still remains: what about Boba? What about Boba?
Also, if Boba does get more screen time, where's he going to go get his drinks? We forgot. They blow up. The Pikes have blown up the Sanctuary bar where the Twi'lek lady was running the operation.
We
pour out the
I will remember you.
The Pikes have dealt the first hand. They started the fight. They go in, they blow up the Sanctuary, and
Max Rebo dies again.
Max Rebo dies again. That poor little blue elephant in the Biff. But oh well.
Oh, well, indeed. Overall, though, it is a really good episode. It's a good
It is.
Star Wars episode. I
It
can't say
shouldn't
it's a
be
really
called
good
Boba
Boba
Fett.
Fett. Yeah, I feel bad for Boba Fett. His show's just been taken over.
Jackson Roykirk, I agree. It just sucks we didn't really get to know her character too well. It would have more meaning then. Now it's just like, oh, this random Twilight is dead.
Well, a little more than random, I think.
A
But
little more than random. She had a name, and we kind of knew what her deal was, but she
a
wasn't.
name, a place. We've seen her interact with what's his name, Black
Boba?
Christensen.
Black Chrysanthemum. Yeah, okay, so we did see a little bit, but she's not as well developed as, like, say, Fennec Shand or Grogu.
Yeah.
You know.
To be fair, they started out on another show.
To be fair, that is true. You are
Yeah,
correct.
there you go. But that is the end. We look forward to the finale next week, and we're obviously going to be reviewing it. So you want to be watching that.
Are we gonna bad batch it, or are we gonna do the next day? I feel almost like a bad batching should take place since it's the finale, but I don't know.
It's definitely worth a consideration.
Yeah.
But we'll talk it over. We'll think about it, and we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
But that is the end, my friends. Thank you so much for joining us for this review. Make sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Let us know your thoughts. Have you been watching the show? If not, you better get watching it. This is some of the best Star Wars you'll see. So now it is time for us to say farewell. May the Force be with you. Thank you so much, and bye!
Live long and prosper.
At Joe's.